look, the New York Times is lying about the bills attempting to curtail the teaching of critical race theory as fact in public schools. It must be a day that ends in Y. I know I am shocked by this revelation. So let's take a quick look at this story. Texas pushes to obscure the state's history of slavery and racism. Texas is awash in bill aims at fending off critical examinations of the state's past. We're going to look at this article, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how the New York Times is lying to you based on, shocker, the actual text of the bills themselves. Let's dig in. Every morning, school children in Texas recite an oath to their state that includes the words, "I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, under one state under God." Now a flurry of proposed measures that could soon become law would promote even greater loyalty to Texas in the state's classrooms and public spaces as Republican lawmakers try to reframe Texas history lessons and play down references to slavery and anti-Mexican discrimination that are part of the state's founding. Wrong! The proposals in Texas, a state that influences school curriculums around the country through its huge textbook market, amounts to some of the most aggressive efforts to control the teaching of American history. What they really mean here is their version of American history, not history as objective fact. Their version of history that says that America is a fundamentally racist country and that we should acknowledge the inherent racism upon which we are built. And they come to as nearly a dozen other Republican-led states seek to ban or limit the role of slavery, and pervasive efforts of racism can be taught. Also wrong. Idaho was the first state to sign into law a measure that would withhold funding from schools that teach such lessons. The lawmakers in Louisiana, New Hampshire, and Tennessee have introduced bills that would ban teaching about the enduring legacies of slavery and segregationist laws, or that any state in the history is inherently racist or sexist. Okay, this is where we're going to start. Now, I'm not going to read this entire article because I'm going to link it in the description below. You can go read it yourself. What do I want to address in this are the accusations that the New York Times, the New York flipping Times, the paper of record, have made in the opening paragraphs of this article that could be easily disproven if Simon here had bothered to read the text of the bills that had been introduced. So we're going to take a look at the one from New Hampshire first, simply because this is the bill, obviously, that I'm most familiar with. I live in New Hampshire. I have campaigned to get this bill passed. The bill is still very much alive. See, what the Democrats are doing right now is they're saying the bill has been tabled, and they're trying to make it out to be a victory in New Hampshire. It's not a victory. What happened is the bill got attached to the state budget, and so the bill itself was tabled because the text got included in the state budget. So they haven't won anything yet. It's in the Senate right now. They're negotiating with the governor, my rhino stupid governor, who is acting like a Democrat. They're still negotiating with him. People still feel confident. I will update you guys more when I have the chance. But what I want to point out in this bill, that what did they say? What did they say specifically? Lawmakers in Louisiana, New Hampshire, and Tennessee have introduced bills that would ban teaching about the enduring legacies of slavery and segregationist laws, or that any state or country is inherently racist or sexist. That is a bold-faced lie. That is a lie. The bill in New Hampshire does not ban teaching about slavery or segregationist laws, and I'm going to prove it. What we're going to do, and this bill, when it's printed out, is about 4 pages long. It's 4 pages. This is not a big bill to read. 4 pages long. What we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to and I know this is like kind of wonky the way we're looking at this. It's not as pretty as the New York Times, but what we're going to do is scroll down to the bottom for the general provision section of the bill. This is the part of the bill, in New Hampshire anyway, that the Democrats have ignored repeatedly. So there was actually in the House session in which this bill got attached to the budget, like Democrats were getting up saying, this would deny us teaching about the Holocaust. It would deny us teaching about slavery. How can you possibly deny the rights of teachers to teach about the Holocaust and slavery? Of course, those same people are now siding with Palestine today against Israel, but, you know, that's another thing. They care about the Holocaust when they can lie and say bills prevent the teaching of it, but when it actually comes to supporting Jews, they do another thing. Anyway, I digress. Let's read this general provision section of the bill. Nothing in this chapter shall prevent agencies or contractors from promoting racial, cultural, or ethnic diversity or inclusiveness, provided such efforts are consistent with the requirements in the chapter. Nothing in this chapter shall be construed to prohibit discussing, as a part of a larger course of academic instruction, the divisive concepts listed in an objective manner and without endorsement. The bill literally says that you can teach anything that's in the bill. You just have to do it from an objective perspective, because this is what they're trying to avoid. They're trying to avoid teachers acting as activists, teachers indoctrinating their children to become little activists in this fringe ideology. You can teach anything in the bill. You just have to teach it from saying some people believe this and other people believe that. That is the bare knuckles truth. Now, let's take a look at the Texas bill. Here is the one in Texas, which is a little bit different than the one in New Hampshire, and it's something I haven't explored yet on this channel, but we're just going to read what it actually says in the bill. In adopting the essential knowledge and skills for the social studies curriculum, the State Board of Education shall adopt essential knowledge and skills that develop each student's civic knowledge, including an understanding of the fundamental moral, political, and intellectual foundations of the American experiment in self-government, as well as history, qualities, traditions, and features of civic engagement in the United States, the structure, function, and processes of government institutions at the federal, state, and local levels, and the founding documents of the United States, including the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, the Federalist Papers, including but not limited to essays 10 and 51, excerpts from Alexis de Tocqueville's Democracy in America, the first Lincoln-Douglas debate, and the writings of the founding fathers of the United States. You mean Texas actually wants to teach what the founding documents of the United States say? And this is somehow problematic in the eyes of the Democrats. Literally, they're saying that teaching the founding documents is banning teaching of the enduring legacies of slavery and segregationist laws. Let's keep going. In the instruction of the essential knowledge and skills for the social studies curriculum. Oh, I have incense burning over here. That's why you see smoke. In applicable courses of Texas, United States, and world history, government, civics, social studies, in similar subjects, no teacher, here are the important bits in the Texas bill, no teacher shall be compelled by a policy of any state agency, school district, campus, open enrollment, charter school, or school administration to discuss current events or widely debated and current controversial issues of public policy or social affairs. Teachers who choose to discuss current events or widely debated and currently controversial issues of public policy or social affairs shall, to the best of their ability, strive to explore such issues from diverse and contending perspectives without giving deference to any one perspective. The Texas bill basically says the same thing as the New Hampshire bill. It says you can teach what you want, but you have to allow for dissent. You have to allow for diverse perspectives. See, the problem when critical race theory is brought into public schools is it stifles any dissent or any other perspectives that aren't directly in line with what the critical race theorists want you to say. And so when the New York Times, because the New York Times is critical race theorist, says that Texas pushes to obscure the state's history of slavery and racism, what they really mean is Texas is saying that we have to teach historical material like the Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers, the writings of the Founding Fathers, the Constitution, all these things. It's saying that you have to teach these things from an objective perspective. You cannot color it with your own personal political beliefs. That is all that it's saying. The rest of the bill goes on, and I will again link all this in the description below. The rest of the bill goes on to essentially say you can't force people to believe and to compel their speech to believe your ideology. You have to give them the freedom to believe what they want to believe and to ask questions without being called goddamn racist. That's what it says. It says you cannot compel this stuff in state agencies, state contractors, or in our public schools. So, New York Times debunked the fact check that you won't get on Snopes or PolitiFact. You get it right here when it comes to critical race theory. All right, folks, if you enjoyed this video, I do content almost every single day during the week, except sometimes I take the weekends off, about critical race theory stuff. Mostly that's my battle that I'm fighting right now. Also news, politics, culture, really whatever I think is kind of interesting. If you enjoyed it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. If you think you're subscribed, just double check because YouTube may have made that decision for you. Also, leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, share it out to your friends and family who are like, these bills would prevent the teaching of slavery, because they're wrong. And they need to be told they're wrong based on the actual text of the bill. If you want to support my work in a more tangible way, you can also join my Locals community. Locals is actually free to join. You get all my videos ad-free, but if you want to chip in $5 a month or $50 a year, which gives you 2 months off for free, you can get access to all the features. All right, guys, thanks so much. I'll see you soon.